Hello, hello, hello. We are live. It's Metal Mondays, episode 3. Welcome back to another edition of the show. I'm your host, MTJ Disorder. You can call me Michael on this episode, though. And joined, as always, by my lovely companion, Phil. He's
rock.
There's whiskey in that, we assure you.
There's a lot of things.
Now, I'm being a little bit on the quiet side because I suffered a terrible, terrible migraine last night. And I am enjoying the perks of medicine required to keep that under control. So, what have you? So, how are you doing this week, Phil? How have you been?
I've been great this week until this morning. Obviously, very sad news. But it's been a big week in metal. Got a lot to talk about, and we got some dark news.
Yeah, I mean, we can get more into the nitty-gritty of that once we start discussing this week's news topics, but do you have anything from a personal standpoint and a fan of Entombed that you want to add?
Personal standpoint, no, like I said, I mean, working hard and listening to a lot of metal, and basically always excited to come back to today. Now my life revolves around Metal Mondays. Yeah.
Well, as for me, I had a much more laborious week than I was anticipating. As a result, I didn't actually get to really do any soul searching when it came to metal. But it's also been kind of a somber week because, again, we're going to get into this when we talk about the news. But we've had quite a hectic roller coaster ride in the world of metal this week when it comes to tragic matters, and it's been kind of hard to really focus. I've been playing a little bit more than I have been recently, and as the singer of our band, I actually found myself getting a little bit negligent to that, but I've been getting a little bit more creative. The only guitar I have handy right now is my trusty old PV Raptor Silver Burst, but it works. It does the trick. What about yourself? Have you had a chance to pick up the old guitar as you've been working through the labors of the week?
Yeah, man. So I work 12 hours a day, Monday to Saturday, but we had some rain Saturday, so Sunday is my day off. I recorded one of our songs. I did a draft track for our latest composition that our other guitarist Trevor's in the chat now. He should be doing the same, if not already. So yeah, I mean, I pretty much only pick up the guitar to do that. Played some riffs, played some in tune today, and pretty much
Well, the last time me and the boys jammed, obviously because you're in Suriname, without you, we started to try to work on some new stuff. It didn't really go too far, but we, when only 3/4 of the band are there, it's you don't want to get too carried away. We basically wrote one new riff and built it upon a riff that Trevor had already brought to the table, which is kind of the Skullsplitter model when it comes down to it. And when you get back, you can give us your approval and add your flair.
Although now you guys are 3/5 with 1/5 missing, we are looking for a bassist. If you play bass, put your name in the chat and we'll get back to you.
Yeah, and you don't have to be from Edmonton. We'll fly you over here and we'll put you up somewhere. No guarantees that it'll be the Ritz or anything, but we'll get you somewhere with heat and fresh, clean water. Hey, you think
it's better than in Suriname?
You think I'm joking? You think I'm joking, but I'm really not. So, what have you been listening to?
Man, a lot of things. I don't know if you know this band. It's called Baest, but Baest. Basically, they're a death metal band, classic death metal band. Thrash side, so that kind of like us. Basically, it's all growls, but they have kind of the thrasher spirit. They put out their third LP this week called Necro Sapiens. They're from Denmark, and it's a great record. I recommend it. I think their first one is still my favorite one, but I gotta listen more to it. They got 3 videos. They put out 3 singles. They're great videos. They're just kind of your normal MV of 5 dudes with long hair just playing their instruments. So And yeah, so Beast, for fans of Skeleton Witch, but more for kind of the death trash vibe, not for the black vibe.
So hold on, not to be
Yeah.
confused with Beast from
Yeah.
Montreal,
No.
who are a dance EDM duo.
I was gonna say I have no idea what you're talking about.
I just quickly looked them up, and the first thing that came up, I looked up band Beast, and the first thing that came up was a EDM duo from Montreal.
So also that Beast is Baest. Maybe they did that to not be confused with the Montreal
Baest.
Baest. And no, they get a lot of praise because they're one of these new bands. They're younger guys playing the death metal of 30 years ago.
I found them on Encyclopedia Metallum.
Of course.
Okay, they're not they don't have a Wikipedia or anything like that yet, because as you say, they're new.
So basically, yeah, they're part of that new revival, bands that plays that old school death metal, and they do it with a fresh take. I mean, it's still nothing new, but it sounds great, and yeah. So Beast, check it out. Other than that, I listened to Brand of Sacrifice from Toronto, which are now one of the most famous bands in metal, I think I could say, outside of Canada. They're in the slam brutal death metal, but they put an electronic twist on it. And also, I don't know shit about this, but Brand of Sacrifice, it's kind of an anime thing, I think. They took the name from kind of an anime show. And so they got all this gimmick around it, basically. And I'm sure you have no idea what they sound like by what I just said to you. But it's really brutal shit with electronics. And it's cool, man. They're from Toronto, and they've been getting a lot of praise. It's kind of a very fresh take on slam. They put out great videos lately. Single for the video Animal. My favorite track though is called Lifeblood. Is the name of the record also. It's their second full length, Lifeblood, and at the end you got some kind of choirs, some kind of children singing, and with a brutal breakdown over it. I mean, it's really something. It's really different. It's really it's something that I mean, it's not completely new, but they're pretty niche sounding band. Like if you like something very brutal, slam, deathcore kind of thing, with a twist, a Brand of Sacrifice from Toronto. Good stuff. I liked it a lot. Apart from that, I listened to, just gonna mention Gravecarver, first LP. They're from Tucson, Arizona. Again, classic death metal. If you like Bloodbath, Edge of Sanity. Of course, I'm mentioning these bands because this is a case of a new band, 4 guys who, according to Metal Archives, never been in another band. But they did the Trevor thing, what our other guitarists in our band would do, and they decided to go all in with mix and mastering. So they sent the project to Dan Swano, of course, legendary metal dude in Bloodbath and Edge of Sanity, and the record sounds phenomenal. It's the first LP. It's your classic death metal, but it sounds amazing. So now I can see how a first project could sound amazing if you just send it to the right person behind the board. You do have to, you need good material, but you know what I mean? Like it makes all the difference, I think.
It's a lost art. Appreciating the finer qualities of high-end recordings is a very, very lost art, because we live in a world now where every man and his dog can basically get themselves an interface, like a universal audio interface or an RME, or even something like from SSL. Everyone's going out recording themselves, and yes, whilst the talent isn't exclusive to someone who knows what they're doing, some people are very intuitive with this sort of stuff and can usually put together really good records for their bands. But it's a fine art that's hopefully it's not going to be a lost art form, but the producer, the control room environment producer, sat behind his desk, completely detached from the music, giving his opinions, putting his touch and putting his color on an album is definitely something that people are, you don't see that anymore in a lot of amateur to semi-pro bands out there, and that's not just metal but all music. All of these amateur, well, again, I don't want to call them amateur recordings, but it's what they are. But it's what's missing with a lot of these amateur recordings, that professionals touch, just the things that people probably wouldn't think about. I'm not just saying that because I'm a producer.
Guy in, sales and and as a guy in sales and marketing, man, I really love bands like this. Gravecarver, check them out. Putting out a record that everything's on point. You never heard of them? The artwork is awesome. The record sounds awesome, and it's like, here we are. This is our first project, and it's gonna be great out of the gate. No shitty demos for like half a decade, with some random singles. It's just out of the gate. Fucking Carnage is called Spectral Carnage, their first LP, and Gravecarver.
Spectral Carnage.
Spectral Carnage, yes.
Open to interpretation, I assume.
I go ahead.
Yeah. Because Carnage, I find, is a visceral thing, not necessarily a spectral thing. So, like, are we talking like ghostly Carnage, the Carnage of the other world, of the other realms? I don't know. I'd like to know what their lyrics are.
It's basically like a massacre in the ghost world.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's a little different. It's like, hey, well, Cannibal Corpse puts real world massacres on their albums. We're gonna put some afterlife massacres on ours.
It's crazy. I was going to say Cannibal Corpse, but only because of the name, because in one of their DVDs, I'm sure you saw it, they even talking to amongst each other, and like, what is Cannibal Corpse? Is it a corpse of a cannibal, or is it a cannibal eating corpse? They don't even know themselves. It's just, they thought it sounded cool. So Spectral Carnage sounds cool.
Yeah.
Forget about what the fuck it is.
Well, and when you start to get a little bit too thinky, is that a word, about the names of your bands, you usually end up with really pretentious band titles like my other band, Legatus. And it's like, we are the generals of the people, just like the legates of old Rome. Yeah, sure, okay, whatever. Fucking Spectral Carnage, bitch.
Hey, don't talk bad about your other band, Legatus. It's awesome.
Oh no, but I
came fit the music also. Yeah. It's like the
I came up with that band name though, like there was an idea behind it. Sometimes you just gotta go like our band, Skullsplitter. Hey, well, that's the skull and it's splitting.
And we eat pizza and drink beer.
Yeah, there's nothing more to it.
That kind of band. Yeah.
And it's funny because that reflects our music as well, like lyric wise.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the lyrics I write are in Legatus. There's all double meaning and subtext to all the things I write about. In Skullsplitter, it's just like, I don't know. I want to sing about a serpent blowing a person's skull from the inside apart.
Yes, that's what.
Just talk about some random war, the war of the skull. Feasting on people's flesh.
Yeah, we got Trevor saying he's currently working on the new riff, and we'll let Dylan take the guitar track we did and add drums to them. So if you're listening tonight and you hear of a song called, are we allowed to mention the song name?
Yeah.
Probably not. If ever you hear Systematic, well, you're assisting to.
Well, funnily enough, your jungle internet cut you off when you said that. So all we heard was that's all we heard.
Systematic nightmare fuel.
Well, and you see, okay, so there's a double like twist to that, because what the lyrics of that song are about are complete nonsense, but they are tied to that name. The name is what gives them the substance. Systematic nightmare fuel, meaning like this is the atypical imagery of anyone's darkest nightmares. Right? There's nothing special or intriguing about it. It's just throats getting slit, eyes getting gouged out, people getting disemboweled. It's that, to me, that's systematic nightmare fuel. It's just your atypical crap.
It's kind of a fucking nightmare to play also.
Hey, well, you guys want to get more technical. I want to get more technical too, but I don't have to play, so I'm not worried.
Don't think about techie shit. It's not techie at all. It's just Well, you'll see. You'll see.
Well, it's not.
Moving
Yeah.
on.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, it's not technical from a
Yeah,
from a compositional point of view,
yeah,
but it's trickier to play than the stuff we usually play.
yeah, for sure.
So
I got two more.
Oh,
Yeah,
go on. I didn't realize you had two more. Continue on.
Yeah, two more bands really quickly. Because I discovered like 14 new bands this week, and this is typical for
We're losing you.
me. But these five I really wanted to talk about.
Phil, we're losing you.
I,
Stand by.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is better.
Try talking.
Tell me when I'm back.
You're back now.
Yeah, 1 2 1 2.
Yeah.
I'm back. Oof.
We're losing you a little bit still though.
Okay, so
Oh no.
Shit.
What did you do? There we go.
What happened?
You shrank inside your little border there, and I didn't want to touch it just in case something you did caused it. You're back. You're back to normal now.
Is my voice still working?
It feels like it's nice and clean now.
Band.
Yeah.
Perfect. So new band. I love getting into new bands. This one's called Irony of Fate, and you can tell me about the meaning of that later. Put out their second LP called Wicked and Divine. They're from Bern, Switzerland. It's female fronted. I love female fronted band, especially when it's on the brutal side. So it's kind of a mix of melodic death metal and groove, and it's awesome. You still hearing me?
Yep, but we're getting a little moment where your screen gets small and it says Phil Rock's bandwidth is low. So just let you know about that.
I didn't touch anything, so I don't know what's up with that.
It's probably just Zoom telling us that you have low bandwidth.
Shit. Irony of Fate, female fronted. You got to check that out. Yeah, if you like groove metal, we're talking like more like a Pantera groove mixed with your melodic death metal. It's a mix that we don't get often, and basically Mike keeps losing weight. Yeah, thanks, Dad. So yeah, and last but not least, I made some new friends. A band called Dauthuz. They're from Holland. They're from North Holland. They put out their second LP last week called Cold. And this is your HM2 pedal, old school death metal. Now, I know you're not a particular fan of the buzzsaw sound, but we're gonna segue to N-Tune's singer in a moment. And they came up with that fucking sound. That buzz saw.
Hey, if it sounds good, if it's nice and EQ'd properly, it'll sound fine. I'm okay with it. It's just
so that was a setup. So that was a setup because this band in 2021, they're super fans of the buzzsaw sound, but it's like super properly EQ'd. It doesn't sound like a chainsaw in a bee's nest like it used to sound. So they kind of took that idea, and definitely you hear 3 seconds and you're like, boom, Swedish death metal HM2 buzzsaw sound, but it is more more EQ'd. And in fact, I've been talking to them because metalheads are awesome. Now you just can message random metalheads and strike up a conversation with them, and basically they told me that they were working a lot on their tone, and one of the guitarists himself is a super HM2 fan. He has a group on Facebook, so I'll link that up later. And just had good conversation with these dudes. And for me, this was my favorite album of the week. Honestly, is I love that old school sound. I love that buzzsaw sound, and for me, it's a perfect album. Nothing reinventing the wheel. Is just good old meat, gravy, and potatoes. But it's at the right temperature. It's got the right amount of salt. You know what I mean? It's super comforting. It's a great record. I listened to it like 7 times, and this is how I know it's for me is a personal classic. I'll link that. Today they put out some new merch. So if you want to check that out, I'll link that up in the chat. Dauthuz. That's DAUTHUZ.bigcartel.com. I'll put that in the chat right now. Check out that record, Dauthuz. The record called. It's amazing. Am I still live?
You're still live, yeah. We're getting a little bit of glitching audio from time to time. It doesn't help as well that the codeine's starting to kick in.
Hey, today is that's how it is.
Oh no, it's just I'm trying so hard to keep my eyes from looking like I'm super stoned right now. But
yes.
So Death is Cold. Is that the only link you have? Because you named quite a few there.
No, I'll put the other as well. Well, I mean, Baest, Brand of Sacrifice. These are more known bands. Gravecarver, Irony of Fate. I'll link it up on our Metal Mondays page on Facebook this week. Metal Mondays on Facebook. Join us. You can't miss the page. You just Metal Mondays. You'll find us. I post all the links there, all the bands there.
I'm actually shocked there isn't more Metal Mondays on Facebook. You would think there was.
There were others, but we're the new kids on the block. So it's like, say, when you type Metal Mondays now, it's us and even
kids,
and we just and even we don't have much followers yet. One day when we have millions, we'll say, hey, we're the real shit. So Dauthuz, check it out. If you like the album from Wretched Fate in 2019, which was my personal favorite, Bossa, Swedish type OSDM. Check them out. So that's it for this week. It was a big week, and I could go on and talk about 10 more records, but this is the 5 I wanted to talk about before our showcases.
Well, see, because I've been really busy this week. Mostly all I've been doing is listening to whatever I have on my iPhone. So when I've been playing some metal, speaking of comfort music, I've just been listening to a whole bunch of comfort music this week, and you could probably guess. I'll give you one guess on which band I've been listening to.
Iron Maiden.
Oh, actually, no, you're wrong.
Oh, you're again in that mass funeral mass, man?
No, I've just been listening to Death all week.
Fuck. Death. Well,
Death is my If in Doubt band. Their entire discography.
Yeah. Fuck.
So I've not been. I often, if I go to Death, I usually go to Symbolic.
I was going to ask you because everybody's got their own Death album, and the 7 are always well represented. But so you're a Symbolic kind of guy.
Mm-hmm. I just love the sound of that album. To me, talking about EQ and production quality, that was the height of their production quality.
Mm-hmm. They did it all. They were the first, and they did it all. Mm-hmm. They invented like 4 subgenres in 7 albums, and had so many musicians playing with them. I'm a Leprosy kind of guy. OSDM.
See, Leprosy, you've still got that rough sounding drum set. Whereas once you get to Symbolic, you've got the really sort of highly produced, refined drum set, like with the kick with the slap, right, and a very thick, chunky snare. Nice even spread on the stereo field for all of the overheads.
Yeah.
You go back further. You go back further into the 80s, and music is, especially metal, is sounding really buzzsaw like, right? Really, really rough sounding. And I think that was just a matter of at the time not really knowing what the sound was, because you hear it in all of the big 4 at the time, with Anthrax and Megadeth, Metallica, and Slayer. You hear their music. They all kind of in their early days have a very similar production sound.
Yep, no, that's true. And I think I'm not the most knowledgeable on this, but I know that Scott Burns, in Florida, came up with a lot of basically what it sounded like. I believe he produced some Death albums. I'm not sure. Cannibal Corpse for sure, and a shit ton of other bands. But I remember hearing that they were trying to find a death metal sound, and it was so hard to record blast beats and like super fast double kicks because it's never been done. So how the fuck do you mic that? How do you EQ that? How do you So for sure they were rough sounding, but even first Death album, Scream Bloody Gore, sounded decent. as far as when it was put out, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you compare that to other death metals in the mid '80s, I mean, there were not that much, but yeah.
I
So
also
death.
I also listened
Yeah.
to some Obituary as well this week. Yeah, I know it's not a band I usually listen to.
Obituary. I like Obituary. It's rare that I don't listen because of the vocals, but yes, I have a little
it's
problem
funny
with the Obituary vocals.
Cause of Death, like their second album, is what I was listening to, and that's again, it all sounds so like buzzsaw like. It sounds so like old and rough, but occasionally it's good to go back and listen to that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
See what they must have thought they were going for, what the sound entailed, and listen to some Opeth as well.
Wow.
But mostly just bands that I have on my iPhone, because like I say, I was so busy this week I wasn't looking up anything new.
Because I said careful for the purists and HM2 lovers out there like me, because buzzsaw will really represent that pedal, that HM2 pedal, which is a mix of distortion and fuzz, basically.
But it's important though to understand though the angle I come from on that. I'm not criticizing. It's an objective fact, in my opinion, that sound was an old, inferior sound. It was the sound of, this is new music and we really don't know what we're looking for. We're just dialing knobs here, trying to get what we can, right? 30 years has passed. Now the people have refined that sound and made it even better. And you were just mentioning a band earlier, right? You said I set you up for that. And so you can still take the older sounds and do something different and try to refine them. I mean, it's 30 years on since we first started hearing that stuff. So, did we lose?
No, for sure. But the death that hello?
Yeah, sorry, we lost you there for a split second. You're back.
Yes, I'm back. So yeah, death in the mid '80s, they still had that kind of that thrash distortion sound, because they came directly after thrash, whereas the bunnies really came from that pedal that made it a buzz.
Well, tell you what, I'll just mention one last band who I did listen to this week, but I want to save them for our showcase sometime in the future, because they are a local Edmonton band, and I only really listened to them because Trevor was suggesting them, told me about their new album, and that's Tides of Charon. So I just wanted to give a quick shout out to them, because things I have listened to this week, I have been listening to their tunes. But given the fact that we're losing you every now and then, I feel like we should move on to news.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got two very somber headlines to discuss today, and it's just life. It's the nature of things. So there's no easy way to get into this, but it's in the title. Entombed vocalist dead, age 49. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah,
that's too young, man. Like,
I mean, we've been talking about the buzzsaw for the last 30 minutes. So yeah, Lars Goran Petrov, legendary singer of Entombed, which obviously put out the legendary record Left Hand Path in 1990. They came up with that sound. So that buzzsaw thing didn't exist before Left Hand Path in 1990. Point. No one's going to argue with that. And basically, yeah, again, just that pedal was like made and no one used it, and they decided, yeah, fuck it, we'll use it, and we'll crank all four dials to the max, and they recorded the classic album with this. And yeah, I mean, he died of a bile conduct cancer.
Well, I've got the article up here. Yeah, so Swedish death metal vocalist LG Laiho and Petrov, best known for his work with Stockholm Pioneers, Entombed has died following a hard-fought battle with bile duct cancer. That's so that's drinking that's caused that, basically. He was 49. The news was confirmed on Facebook by Petrov's bandmates in his recent projects, Entombed AD and Firespawn. That's so sad, man, to be dying at 49 years old by something that was probably self-inflicted. It's It's pretty tragic, man.
I mean, I don't know if it was self-inflicted or
You
what, but
don't usually get bile duct cancer without
yeah.
alcohol abuse.
I'm not a doctor, but I'll believe you.
They've not gone out and said said what it is, but I mean, rockstar lifestyle, man.
Yeah.
Because your bile ducts are basically the little tubes that connect your liver to your stomach, and all the bile that gets produced from the acidic breakdown of stuff inside your stomach goes through that into your liver and gets processed. And if it gets all scarred from years of alcohol abuse or poor diet, it usually results in tumors inside the bile ducts. So.
Follow us next Monday for Medical Monday.
Well, I've kind of got a weird sort of like morbid obsession with medical stuff because my mum was a nurse.
Yeah,
so there's an explanation for that. Also, given the fact that I myself am encountering liver issues, so I'm having to get knowledgeable on that stuff. But it's very rare that you would get any liver-related problems which weren't diet or alcohol. But nonetheless, I don't think it was self-inflicted in such a way that it's like it's unintentional suicide or anything like that. But clearly the guy he lived his best life. He lived as fast as he played music, and it caught up with him at a young age, unfortunately, which is it happens, and it's just, as I said off the top of the news there, it's the way of life.
Right. And he was obviously as a lot of death metalers, even at close to 50 or past 50, he was still very active. He was still playing with Entombed AD, which was kind of the it's pretty much Entombed that became Entombed AD just because of our rights thing with the past guitarist. So we're still playing with Entombed essentially, and also had a bunch of other groups. I'm gonna just mention one. It's called Fire Spawn. It's a super group with other members of Entombed and Necrophobic and Dark Funeral. So both Entombed AD and Fire Spawn released an album, I think in 2019. So like the dude released two albums 2 years ago and passes today. So a lot of rockers, man, and metalers, they seem to die. My dad always say on the stage, right? It's like 1 year they record an album or they do a show a week and the next week they're dead. Talk about Alexii Laiho from Children of Bottom. I believe we'll talk a little bit later. Or Lemmy, man. God Lemmy, man. He did a show like 2 weeks or a week before he fucking died. That's the life, eh?
Well, it's kind of the dream if you think about it. One of my biggest fears in life. People always say, "Oh, I'm afraid of death" or whatever, right? And I'm not particularly afraid of death. I'm afraid of getting old, and not being able to continue doing the things I want to do in my old age. And he died at 49, which is far too young, but he died doing what he loved. And and Lemmy, though, in contrast, he was able to make it into his senior years and still continue to do the things he loved. Folks like Ozzy, right? That's why it's killing me right now that Ozzy's going through what he's going through, because it's not how Ozzy should be. Ozzy should be on stage holding his mic stand, bobbing his head. So the fact that he's going through those kinds of problems is so heartbreaking. You can only hope as a performer that you will continue to perform and be creative all the way up until your last dying breath. And that's where, in some regards, as horrible as it is that Petrov was taken from us too soon, at least he was given the gift of being able to die doing what he loved.
Oh yeah, 100%. And to us, the fans, he gave us music up until his latest years. So I mean, he's a legend, and these kinds of legends, we don't have many, right? We have of death, dying also of cancer. When mentioning death,
he died of brain cancer though. Oh my God, this is not good.
What's that band? The young guy that died last year. fuck.
I don't even know what you're talking about right now, Phil. So everything that you said over the last like 30 seconds was just a garbled mess. So you might want to. I think I heard something. What was the name of that guy who died of something?
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Yeah, no, I just said we had a young singer of I can't think of the band now. Died just last year. But yeah, he was like in his 20s.
Oh yeah. Oh man.
We suck. Yeah, we suck.
No, but it's so strange because it's one of those things of like being in the spotlight. The name's right on the tip of my tongue. Like
Executioner. Yeah, Executioner's Axe, right?
Hold on, I'm gonna find this out. There's no way on Metal Mondays we're not gonna know the name of this
Nah.
person. Do you have anything else to say about Petrov there, though?
Now, man, like we're just
Bruno
saying that. What?
Yeah, facts, Yank. Trevor said Riley Gale from Power Trip.
Oh, tabarnak! Someone's listening.
Yeah.
Finally, the moderators are doing their job. Yes, exactly. Thanks, Trevor. Exactly. Bruno Mars. That's my neighbor. Thanks, Jan. Good guess, but no. Yeah, no. So yeah, huge loss, and you also wanted to talk about the other rocker who died on drugs and alcohol.
I've got the article up here. Children of Bodom, frontman Alexii Laiho's cause of death revealed. So as we know, last month, he unfortunately... No, wait, what am I talking about? Last year is what I meant to say. He unfortunately passed away. What was his age? It's not showing in this article. I think he was like 41.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. It was in his 40s. I should know these things. Again, I'm on codeine, so... So anyway, Children of Bodom and Bodom After Midnight guitarist and vocalist Alexii Laiho suddenly passed away on December 29, 2020. Laiho's ex-wife and Synergy bandmate Kimberly Gose have revealed Laiho's cause of death to be alcohol-induced degeneration of the liver and pancreas. Okay, so again, the same issue of living a lifestyle that unfortunately causes your body to take a beating. So this is again self-inflicted. Which I feel we already kind of knew that was probably what it was, but the interesting kind of wrinkle with the article, I feel like we can. I should let you go into this. There's an interesting development in regards to the events that have taken place in the months preceding his death.
Right.
And yes. So do you want to go into detail on that for us?
Yeah, but first of all, if you just kept reading a few more words, and I know you have a migraine, so you
I can't read. I'm having a hard time.
It's like degenerative alcohol.
What a pair we are.
And then with a mix of opiates, opiates, painkillers, and insomnia medicine. So that it was a big cocktail there, and basically, Alexii Laiho of Children of Bodom, we all know.
That's all pancreas stuff. That's all things that get processed by your pancreas, man. Damn. And
he was really secretive about his conditions, and I remember in his last shows, people were saying he's so white, he's so thin. He always has been, right? But he looked like a ghost or whatever. And
he's always looked like a drug addict to me.
Yeah. he does look like that, yeah, for sure.
It's sad but true.
And 100%. And basically his wife, because he never divorced her, but they keep calling her his ex-wife because apparently they worked together for decades or whatever.
I guess spiritually she's his ex-wife.
Yeah, put out the cause of death, and his family, big drama, got mad because they were saying that he wouldn't have wanted that out because he was a really secretive guy. And also because technically she's his wife, she's delaying the burial of the ashes because she wants to be present, but like all his family hates her or whatever. Big drama, but all that to say that
It
You
kind of
know,
feels
it's
like the Pantera situation with
yeah,
with Dimebag, right? You know,
yeah,
nobody
yeah.
wanted Phil there, even though you
Ah,
realize that from his point of view, right? It must have, yeah, you had to feel for him that no matter how much of a dipshit he was, you had to feel for him that he wasn't allowed to be there. And same goes for
hmm.
Alexi's wife, right? Like they were together. There was something there. She obviously loved him at one point, right? So to be denied access to the funeral is just, I don't know. I find that petty personally, but yeah, it's just my opinion.
Yeah. Like their version is that he never divorced her to not give 50% of his shit, right? Like that was their version, and that he never talked good about her. And he did make a will apparently, leaving her out of it. So basically her last right is to say when he's gonna get buried. And man, he passed like in January, so that's a while now. So anyway, that's but I thought it would be a good idea to talk about Alexii Laiho, because also another young legend died too soon, of kind of the same reasons as Petrov there. So
Well, and we didn't
there
get
you
to
have
really
it.
talk
Death
about his
meddlers.
death either because we weren't doing this at the time. There was plans on the channel for me to talk, maybe with Trevor when we play Halo on, on Tuesdays, and talk about what he meant to us. All right, the life and story of Alexii Laiho. So yes, it was December 29th. Trevor, we already pointed that out. Thanks. Moderator doing his job. But yeah,
Great.
it's crazy that you've got in the space of what 3 months. Two is LG Petrov. Where is he from?
So Sweden.
The band Swedish. He is Swedish as well. Like they're all.
He's technically like Macedonian, and
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know if he. Yeah, but I mean, he's known as
But
a
yeah, in the space of
yeah.
in the space of 3 months, we've had two Swedish death metal icons basically die from very similar means, right? They both with digestive tract complications.
Laiho's a Finn, though, no? Finland, no?
I
Sure.
meant Scandinavian. Sorry, just
Scandinavian,
Scandinavian.
right.
Yeah, Norwegian, Danish, Finnish, Sweden.
Yeah.
Although I would have a lot of Finnish death metal people probably getting all up in my grill for comparing them or branching them in with the Nords and the Swedes. There is differences. But
Exactly.
there's a lot of similarities. A lot of the tone and the themes born out of Norse mythology and Viking stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I just dropped a thumbtack on the floor and I don't want to step on it.
Hey man, they're all small countries and they're right next to it, and they're all next to each other. So if you take Canada, you could, and all of them.
Well,
They're
the
basically the
heritage
same
of the whole
people
region.
with more borders.
Yeah, the heritage of the entire region is they're all basically the
People
same.
would kill me. They would all kill me for saying that.
No, they're all gonna get into their Viking longboats and sail across the Atlantic Ocean to come throttle us for saying these things. But hey, I'm British. I'm from the island, man, the unconquerable island, and we fought with all of the Vikings, the Nords, the Danes, the Swedes. So for most British folk and most Anglo-Saxons, the Scandinavians are all one people. But yeah, that's the.
So is this where I talk about my French heritage and Guy le Conquérant in the year 1039?
Well, yeah, we could also talk about how my country, again, the unconquerable island, just absolutely destroyed your heritage
Okay.
at every chance it could.
I know you saved us. You saved Quebec. We got to keep our language.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
On parle français.
I'm talking about your ancestors, though.
Fuck them. Oh, sorry. What's up to all our French metalers?
Do we know any French bands other than Gojira?
A million.
I don't know any French metal bands myself.
Man, Deathspell Omega, Fractal Universe.
Holy crap! That's a good segue right there.
That's three. Yeah. No.
One fractal band to another.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Well, are we there yet?
Well, I think that's probably where we'll end it with the news. It's a really Debbie Downer subject. We had to discuss it, but I feel like it's probably good to move on. We know the cause of death for Alexei now, and it's sad, and it's a shame, as it says in the article, that if he'd have just reached out for help, it could have been preventable. But that's just not how it happened, and life goes on. Rest
There
in
we
peace,
go.
Alexei. Rest in peace, Lars Gören.
Yes.
Okay, so moving on to our
Uh,
third and final segment, we're going to get into the showcase featurette part of this week's show. And as you seem to always be bringing the bands, Phil, I'm going to defer to you.
Yeah, man. So this band is really gonna. If you have a migraine, this will either stop it or make it 5 times worse. So
I'm assuming
you might want to lower the.
I'm assuming
this
it'll
is gonna
make
be
it
some
so
brutal
so
shit.
painful that it won't. You know how like they say just like hurt something else and it'll make the pain go away, or you'll be worried more. Like punch yourself in the face, it'll take the attention away from your boo boo. Well, if I'm thinking if I just listen to this on full blast, it'll hurt too much for it to even register anyway.
So as always, we're gonna just say that it's a band called Fractal Generator. They're from Sudbury, Ontario, and basically be listening to their track Serpentine off of their second LP, Macrocomos. So let's listen to it.
Okay, for anybody who wasn't hearing that,
I'll tell you all about them later.
So for anybody who wasn't hearing that, we're listening to Fractal Generator. The song track is Serpentine. So without further ado, here they are. know what? If anything, I think that cured my migraine.
How was that?
So we're talking about the genre. Yeah, I mean, actually, I would call it, and I saw a lot of descriptions. I would call it atmospheric death metal or experimental death metal. Basically, why? Why? It's because you got that. It's always the whole album is a mood. It's very mechanical. It's like, but it's some people call it sci-fi metal or death metal or cosmic death metal. Like I'm not ready to add these new genres yet. I know what they mean by it though. It's kind of it puts you kind of in a trance. It's
Yeah.
kind of that. It's kind of the meshuggah. You know, were the first that I kind of, you know, they got those riffs.
Focus is the word I use to describe
Yeah.
that. It makes me feel like hypnotized. Makes me feel like I've been meditating.
And I'm super obsessed with this album. It's hypnotizing me. I'm listening to it all day long, and I actually sleep to this. Believe it or not, I put this and it. Yeah, classic metal. I can see it. Like people are like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Hey, well, you're watching the wrong show if you don't understand.
Yeah, but no, basically because you got these little synth notes in the back, you know, or kind of these effects, these glitch effect, you know? Like the white noise in the back, and in front is like.
That's good enough.
So you got these killer riffs in front, but you always
Holy shit.
You always have like a fixed point behind.
That's some dark humor in the chat there from Stevie Ray Bob. Holy
That's my dad.
Shit. Yeah, hope he didn't die of bile duct cancer. Oh, that's a little too soon there, Bob.
Delete his comments. We'll edit in post. I'm kidding. Dad, behave. Okay. Stop cutting me off on our feature. And I'm kidding. Fractal Generator, they're out of Sudbury, Ontario. What an amazing project. I'm obsessed with this album. It was hard for me to pick a track. All week I wanted to put the first track because the album is kind of I didn't want to spoil. This was the third track we just heard, Serpentine. And it's really like you're stepping into a vortex and you're out there. It's mechanical, it's robotic, it's fucked up. So on bass and vocals we have 040118180514. On drums we have 040114090512. And on guitar and vocals we got 121-192-00914.
Good old-fashioned Canadian boy names.
Of that band.
Is that like
exactly? No, that's something that's Ontarian. And Leaves stop being so good. It's their second LP. They worked 5 years. They said on that LP, it really shows. It's super well produced.
5 years.
But yeah, their first LP was in 2015. They had a demo also in 2008, so they've been around.
So that whole 5 year thing though could be good or bad, right? Like because that usually indicates adversity to me, or it just took them that long because I don't know.
The more you dive into the album, the more you'll see it's super. How can I say, super rich. Meaning, and also like the lyrics, it's kind of I'll get there.
So they haven't had any like band problems or anything in those 5 years. They haven't changed personnel.
I couldn't say, but by the way, by showing how they give the names of the band members, I expect a lot more mysticism than truths.
Fair enough.
But all I'm saying is that it's super, which in French, recherché. It's really thoughtful, like focused. It's got a main theme. It's about, from what I understand, it's about kind of a human entity going into discovering. It's kind of the Matrix, basically. Basically, it's the Matrix in music. They start understanding that, like the universe is a simulation and an
Oh
infinite.
yeah, look at the band name, Fractal Generator.
Infinite number of simulations and all that kind of stuff. Just to finish the credits here, it was recorded in Soundstream Studio, produced by Fractal Generator, so the band themselves produced it, mixed and mastered by Stefano Morabito at 16th Cellar Studio. And I do want to mention on the artwork, amazing artwork. I don't know if you're able to put it right there on the screen, but it's again from the second time in this show, Erskine Designs. So because I love the artwork of the CD of the. This is again, it's like I was talking about Spectral Carnage, right? Gravecarver, the album Spectral Carnage. Everything with this album, with this band is focused on a theme, and I do really love that. You look at the name, you look at the artwork, you look at the lyrics, you listen to the music, and it really feels like a cosmic music or fractally science-y sci-fi music basically. And the other artwork that we saw for Erskine Designs was Atalon on our episode 1, which also amazing artwork. So now I'm thinking, bro, when we release our first LP, we gotta check Erskine Designs. The dude's from I researched him today. He's from Armenia, and he does this amazing artwork, not just for bands, but seems lately to be popular with bands.
I like that it's it's abstract, but it's like it's still familiar. It's like a nice balance between abstract and familiar. Like it almost looks like the style. It looks like someone who draws like Tolkien drawings, like Ted Dan Smith or something. But it's still got that like iconic, like unsettling metal imagery. So it's a really good balance. That's what I kind of like about it. It's not too brutal. It's not too cryptic. It's not too nice.
True. So it's not tech debt. It's not tech debt with a million scales and a million notes. It's riffy. It's very riffy, but the riffs are understandable. You know what I mean? Like you hear the riff, you can hum it, you can play it. It's not like it's not so far there. Okay, they have some odd time signatures. They have some dissonance. Yes, but for the most part, it's you can. Do
you know what I find interesting about it is that I don't really I don't pay much attention to the vocals, but it's not. But it's not like it's not good or anything. It's that I don't single it out. Everything was so complimentary. Like it felt like it felt like one instrument. That's probably the best compliment I could give that song that we just listened to. Is everything was very much focused. Everything was very much together.
Yeah. One thing I'll say, and this came from one of our listeners who wanted asking us if we can go a little bit deeper into the music analysis. So I won't go full deep, but in what I think I found interesting about this song is that riff. Even that riff in our pre-meeting before the show, you were humming that riff that I'm going to talk about. Yeah. And it's weird because in metal, okay, so intervals in metal, in thrash, it's all in fifths, So for the musicians out there, then of course death chord, and they always hit that tritone like in the breakdown. So interval in metal, like fifth, flat fifth. If you metal death, it's all in thirds. Metalcore, it's all minor thirds. It's the intervals we hear. But that riff, man, I was fucking around with the guitar today. It's in fourths.
Whole tones.
So it's rare. Fourth.
Yeah, so those are whole tones, right?
Whole tones. No, I'm just one and the one to the fourth. Is it in the whole tone
so
scale?
it goes 1 4 1 4 1 4 1 4. Right?
No. In fourths, according to if you take the diatonic scale. So let's say you're in A. That's a D in fourths. So a major third. So a half step over a major third. The interval I'm talking. So that riff being in fourths is very weird in metal. Like you don't hear that too often in metal, and they really get to it, and they really focus on it. And it sounds robotic. It sounds like an artificial intelligence to make a riff. So,
It does kind of
because it's
sound
like,
almost like it does have a very sort of like synthetic quality to it.
exactly.
Like
It's like
you could get a very similar sort of sound by opening up one of those wall synths with the oscillators and stuff and playing around and dialing knobs in and whatnot. Like that's why I use the word very, very repetitive as well, but repetitive in a good way, almost kind of like
exactly.
math rock.
Yeah, exactly. For me, it gave me that Meshuggah feeling. Without Meshuggah, is a lot more odd time signatures. These they have, but less. But yeah, I really like that aspect of very heavy riffs, but with some kind of glitches in the back, like we were just talking about.
There was even one bit where there was like a guitar solo, kind of, but it was like it sounded like it was clean guitar in the background.
Like really back.
And there's like this really weak pinch harmonic, but it's like you could tell it was intentionally weak though. Like it sounded almost like a ZZ Top style like pinch harmonic, just hidden in the background. It was very interesting. And listening on these headphones, I don't miss much. Like I heard that.
This album, you can listen to it over and over, and you keep getting more stuff. And I'll give a few more descriptions. Like in the fifth track, Chaos Sphere. So you got these eerie chords, not really dissonant, but on top of the consonant eerie chords, you got dissonant guitars plus these fucking sci-fi. So your mind is like split three ways. Like you're listening to these very soothing chords. On top of it, you got dirty guitars, discordant as fuck, and you have these glitches always in the back. So it's like it's almost nauseating at the same time as soothing, because it's like you're hypnotized.
Disorientating, maybe.
It's disorientating. Yeah.
I never, not once whilst listening to that entire track did I feel like uneasy or anything. Like I felt like everything was. It's almost kind of like makes me think of the orbits of planets, right? If you like everything's chaotic, but it's in perfect balance.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
And just like, but just the slightest touch in a different direction, all of a sudden everything goes chaotic and goes out of whack.
Everything.
I can only describe it through metaphors.
For sure. And I felt that the album had a great pace, so they play with that. Some riffs are a lot faster. You got some blast beats. Sometimes it slows down. For the most part, it stays very brutal. But even within that brutality, the dynamics kind of change. If you ask me what this reminded of, the only comparable thing I could think of is like Blood Incantation. For people who love that record, 2 years ago was one of the best record of the year. Blood Incantation also defining themselves kind of a cosmic. They have those kinds of atmospheric riffs, hypnotizing riffs. So if you like that Blood Incantation record, definitely check out Fractal Generator. For me, man, I'm obsessed with this record. I mean, even further along the record, you got some like X-Files cheap melodies playing, and over you got those big riffs. So it's like your mind is always split between, it's trying to grasp patterns, right? That's the fractals. And of course, on the last track, Ethereal, you got that Matrix talk. If you read the lyrics about how we're living in infinite simulations and shit, and then the records abandons you there and like, fuck you, come back in 5 years. So for me, it's like it's a super trip, and every time I finish it, I'm like, oh, it's exhausting, and I don't start it right over again. But I do listen to it at least once a day since I've been onto it, and I love it. It's so different. It's a fresh approach. Macrocosmos by Fractal Generator, Sudbury, Ontario, Canadian project. Super proud that these guys put this out. And if you have anything else to say, I'm just gonna drop the link in the Twitch, and people.
It's some very high quality death metal.
Oh yeah,
guaranteed. It's on as far as like quality, it's on par with Malice Divine from last week.
Mm-hmm.
very much. And also, I haven't actually heard the next band we're going to listen to beyond a little snippet from the beginning. But I can tell you now that the Fractal Generator is a band that I'm going to probably be keeping my eye on. I was very impressed with it. Especially if it can help me through a migraine instead of making it worse, then you've earned some brownie points right there from yours truly.
Great. So
I feel like I'm the guy who basically gives the metaphors. You can give all of the technical stuff.
Yeah, but I know I'm the guy who listens to 20 new albums per week, but I always appreciate your appreciation. Appreciate your appreciation. That's a French Canadian.
Speaking of appreciation, we appreciate you, the viewers, the audience. You guys are always here, and we love you for it. Just wanted to let you know that you can help the channel out, and you can help the stream out by using channel points and by using bits. And there's also a donation button below if you'd like to give that a check out. That would be awesome. So
and share the show. Tell a friend. Let's get the show growing.
I guess we have a YouTube channel now, so we should probably plug that real quick.
Yep. It's called Screen Splitters.
And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Yeah. And hit the bell notification icon somewhere.
Michael, how many of these tea trees that you take? I feel
I've taken quite a few. And I smoked a little weed as well, so I'm pretty doped up.
So this show can keep going. What I wanted to say is I appreciate your appreciation of a lot of different stuff. You're far from being single-minded in metal. You're open to every kind of weird fucking metal I bring to you, and this is why the show is good. And thanks to my dad saying quartals. Yes, exactly. Quartals. It's like a jazz thing where everything is harmonized in fourths. So check it out if you wonder what the fuck I was talking about earlier when I said it was in fourths, quartals. With that said, Michael, I think we're going to move to our second feature of two. Local feature. Always we like to promote two local bands. If you have friends playing a local band or you yourself playing a local band, a Canadian band, shoot us your stuff and we'll put you on the list. This band is out of Prince George, BC. It's called Fallensun. Fallensun. They released their first EP called The Wake of the Fall, and we'll be listening to their song sixth track on the album. It's called Beyond the Grave. I believe it. No, sorry, it's the fifth track called Beyond the Grave. If you hadn't, let's go listen to that.
All right, well, here we go. This is Fallensun, Beyond the Grave.
Yes, sir. So what you think of that?
Quite impressive, actually. I wasn't sure at first. I was like thinking, it was so focused on the tone. I'm not a fan of the tone. It sounds like they're playing through like an Axe-Fx or something. Like it sounds really digitally. I'm not a huge fan of the tone. But that being said, the song very, very much gripped me as I went. I was very impressed with the strange, like, pause bit is what I want to call it. That happens later on. 1 second, my camera moved. That happens later on in the song where they're going and there's like a little pause in between chords. So some very interesting progressive elements, definitely.
Yeah. So basically, it's how can I say? It's very melancholic. It's very epic. It's very. I almost, when I listen to this album, I feel like I'm in a movie. You know what I mean? Like I'm in some of the fucking forest, and I'm like kind of a Lord of the Rings movie, and shit's happening, and I can see views. It's very, for me, it's very it paints a huge scene. So basically, yeah, Fallensun, they are the Prince George, BC. I already mentioned that. That was their first EP. It's called The Wake of the Fall. It's amazing, amazing album. It's actually a side project of two guys. These are the guys, if you know, Axis Disrupt. So Axis Disrupt is it's quite famous in the West. On the Metal Death circuit, not circus. Sorry, it's getting late for me. Circuit, and
it's a circus, but with metal, not clowns, metal.
So on drums you have James Coyle, and on guitars and vocals you got Taylor Pottle. He also plays bass, obviously, because there are only two in that side project. And it's a really interesting story. I mean, he told me that they had a relative / friend pass. So again, theme of the show, passing, then death, and instead of letting that bad energy slowed it down, they harnessed it and made another band, another record, and you can really feel the sadness, the epicness. To me, it doesn't sound like two guys making an album. A little bit like Malice Divine last week didn't sound like one guy could do all this. Like for me, like these two guys have really made an amazing, complete, deep album. To me, it feels like the first length. I even asked, I was talking with Taylor, the guitarist, vocalist, and I said, is it a full length or is it actually an EP? And he told me it was an EP, but it's so complete. It has so much richness and interludes. You got piano, you got strings, you got a lot of orchestration, and it's actually an EP. It's got 6 tracks, and all these interludes, all these folk interludes. That usually you would say would sound weird on a melodic death metal album. It really complements this project. Sometimes it's just this piano strings, and sometimes you got it with the riffs. Sometimes it's just the riffs. They really well dose that. I think sometimes it can be like a fucking violin, but no, I think that they really incorporated these elements, in a good way. So that's weird because you can see the spectrum of melodic death metal. You listen to Axis Disrupt, it's metal death, but you listen to this kind of metal death, it's completely a different kind of metal death. You got an atmospheric layer to it with like some folkish elements, and that's why I think some people label it as a part black metal project. But to me, no. To me, it's really metal death with folk elements. But when you start talking about,
I don't really even hear that.
Well, I understand because but the black metal, they're the one like I didn't never dug deep into classic black metal, but like I know like bands like Burzum, I think, or bands like that, they started this atmospheric stuff with folk elements. So now every time you hear atmospheric stuff, even Fractal Generator, I heard some people describe them as some part black metal. To me, no. To me, there's nothing black. But I can understand why people would think that. And just to finish, it was mixed and mastered by Diego Fernandez Trujillo, actually a guy from Edmonton. He plays in Eye of Horus.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that band?
You said Diego?
Yeah.
Yeah, me and Trevor know him.
Okay, so he mixed and mastered that project, and I think it sounds great. You said you didn't like the tone.
I wasn't
I don't.
particularly a big fan of the tone. No,
Uh,
it sounded it sounded annoying, nagging.
I think you took too many tea trees.
Yeah,
I
well,
think.
let's not get away from the fact though that the song really won me over as it went along,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like it overcame my biases. So
yeah.
because I really did honestly, I wasn't saying impressive just to
Mhm.
go with the flow, but I honestly was like, yeah, I'm actually quite impressed with the fact that this was able to pull me along for the ride and make a convincer and a believer out of me, despite it having a lot of the
You're talking the guitar tones, yeah. For me,
just tone in general, like guitar
mhm.
tones, like the most notable thing. But like immediately, what that did was it threw me off and made me think, I'm probably not going to enjoy this. But like I was blown away by the end of the song. Like the compositional elements of the song and the songwriting really won me over on with this track.
So that's just one song, and the second track is my favorite. I picked this one. It was a little. It's a 6 minute track, still it's a little shorter. But that second track is a 9 minute song. But it's got interludes like this, but they play well with it, and it starts from the gate really
Like these guys could have
upbeat.
just turned around and said, "This is an album." It seems like a little bit of a hipster ploy to me. No,
No,
it's a 6-song EP, but all the songs are over 6 minutes long.
no, it's because now I understand why. Because the first song, the first track is actually an intro, but it's a 3 minute intro,
Oh, okay. I
but it
dig it
flows
then.
really well. I like it. I
So
like
they're only
to
one song
me.
shy of it being an album.
Yeah, no, but I think the first track is like I said is kind of that string and piano thing with acoustic guitars, some leads in the back. Then you get to Melodette for 4 tracks, and the last song I believe is also more of a outro thing. So I can understand. It's like a long EP,
Oh, and
basically.
it's
Yeah.
irrelevant anyway. It's a minor
Yeah.
nitpick.
Yeah, for sure. But guys, if you're fans of Insomnium, Dawn of Disease, even Sour, Saor, kind of that. If you like Metal Death with more on the sad side, on the taking more on the epic side, even the bands like Black Therapy, melancholic side, you really dig this project. And for me, I think it's just amazing how you can play in a band like Access Disrupt and let's start a side project and make an amazing album like this. Uh, Really impressed with this project, and everyone also. I talked with a lot of metalheads in east, out west, and all my Quebecois friends. They really dig that project. Actually, it's one of my friends. Max who put me on to them. Uh, and it's got a lot of stuff, and it's an EP, but it's got so much layers to it. It's a great project. Again, another Canadian project. I'm really proud to showcase, and we. It seems like every show we pick two. I pick two bands that are very different, different corners of the metal world, right? We went basically from the Vortex fucking fractal spaceship to the forest with
Yeah.
snow and
Difference being this week from my perspective is
and
that
mountains.
the difference being this week from my perspective is that I probably will actually listen to download both of these EPs. Whereas the previous two bands on each show you brought me before, I was like, one was not my cup of tea, I didn't hate it, but it wasn't my cup of tea, and the other one was like right up my street. This week, I'm definitely probably gonna. I would like to get into these bands. I'd like to get their product downloaded
You know
and onto
what?
my iPhone.
Since I pick the music, I only pick things that I really dig. Since you are the host, you get to more give your opinion. But I wanna I wanna bring different stuff to this show. So if you have bands, again, listeners, if you have bands, if you know buddies that play in a metal bands, hit us up. We'll look it up. We need more. We need more bands from Manitoba, Saskatchewan, the Maritimes, and the Territories. Have you ever heard of a band from the Territories? That'd be awesome to showcase.
I bet there is some.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm trying to showcase every province. Um,
You want
with
to
that said,
throw
brother,
the email? You want to throw the email up in the chat there?
which one?
Do you want to throw up an email so people can send us recommendations, requests?
Sure. Yeah, so we briefly talk about our Screen Splitters YouTube channel. Basically, it's the channel of the band members, of Skullsplitter. The difference is that on this channel, we'll focus on gaming and metal. So for now, we're posting all the episodes of Metal Mondays up in there. And we have other series that we'll start making. We want to do maybe some playthroughs. Maybe we want to go in depth into some albums. We'll post some of your highlights from gaming, I guess. We have a lot of ideas.
Well, definitely very much so when we do the Teabag Tuesdays, because we're all probably going to be involved with that at some point. Just all of us getting a little tipsy, getting a little buzz going, and playing some Halo. Do you not have Halo?
I played Halo.
Oh man, we got to get you the Master Chief Collection, and you got to join us on a Tuesday night. Once you get back and you can play your Xbox again.
So first time I played the first Halo, and my drummer in my past band, he played it for like 20 hours and got an epileptic playing it, full on epileptic attack.
Jesus.
And then I didn't play it for 10 years, and then I played it, and that's my story with Halo. So yeah,
there's a lot of deep-seated issues behind Halo. Some suppressed.
Shout out Joey.
Shout out Joey. Oh, that was Joey that happened. Oh shit.
Yeah.
Hey, why isn't he checked in yet and watched us?
And you know what? He Twitches also. He streams. He games also.
Tell him to get me his Twitch handle, and we can share followers.
For sure. Share the channel, MTG Disorder. Like our YouTube page, Screen Splitters, Metal Mondays on Facebook. And take us out.
And as I said before on Screen Splitters, if you're watching this, you're going to hit that like button. Even if you didn't like it, you're going to hit that like button. You're going to hit the subscribe button. You're going to share on all of your social media. And you're going to hit the bell notification icon. Why? Because I said so.
Yes.
That's not intimidating at all.
It's not a threat. Don't get the police. All right.
No, it's just a fact. I say you do.
A la verga. Okay. Good.
Well, I guess we could probably start wrapping it up there. It's been a lot longer show than we're used to. Mm-hmm. And ironic considering I'm half asleep and drugged up. I honestly didn't think I'd make it this far.
Well, we got to get Tylenol T3 as sponsors.
What's that?
We got to get Tylenol T3 as sponsors.
Oh, like the brand Tylenol, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we're not, by the way. So, okay, well, let's wrap this up. And thanks very much for bringing me the bands again this week, as always. Once again, we basically checked out Fallensun and Fractal Generator. And Phil has shared their links to their Bandcamps in the side chat, so you can go check them out. And to everybody who's been watching and everyone who tuned into this tonight live, we thank you too. And until next time, I think we're going to get up the music and play us out. All right, thanks for watching.